Welcome back from an ad break. We will continue with our application questions under the topic visual aids. All right, question number 3 says, read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Sustainable businesses present valuable information and use visual aids effectively. An effective business report requires a good report writing skills. A business audience prefer information that includes various kinds of visuals. It is important that businesses consider these factors when designing a presentation. So the first question says, explain the purpose of the following visual aids. We've got interactive smart boards, we've got posters, we've got handouts. So what is the purpose of the following visual aids? The second question says, advise businesses on how to prepare support materials for a business, or for a presentation rather. All right, so what is the purpose of the following visual aid? The first one, an interactive whiteboard or smartboard, as you said it, can either be a whiteboard or smartboard. It can be used for small or large groups. It can be linked to other whiteboards in other venues. It uses coded pens to write new information. As you know, we're going towards the 4th industrial revolution, so it is very important that now people conscientize themselves with the technology, the modern technology, which is the interactive smart boards and the interactive whiteboards. So let me fix it here, and we'll just say it's the whiteboard or the smart boards. All right, what is the purpose of a poster and a flyer or brochures and handouts? Remember, this is one thing, just like this is also falls under one umbrella, one umbrella. Right, flyers, brochures, and handouts, they can be used for an effective marketing tool. They can be used to attract people to an advert maybe. It contains a summary of the most important points. They are given to the audience when they leave after the presentation. As mentioned, we don't want to cause distraction and all that by giving out the handouts during the presentation, because it might cause a bit of chaos. And then the third one is posters, signs, banners, and flags. They are used to communicate with potential customers, and just like the brochures, they can be used as a marketing strategy here, not a tool, but just a strategy. All right, this last question said, advise businesses on how to prepare support materials for a presentation. So most visual aids, they require similar qualities to make them effective. They should use large, clear lettering that is easy to read from an appropriate distance. Remember, you're using support materials to accommodate everybody that is in, or that is your audience. So you don't know the challenges that they might be having. Others, maybe visually, they are impaired. Maybe they cannot see clearly from a distance and all that. So you need to accommodate everybody. You must never have too much writing on them, because it gets to be very cluttered and untidy. Provide visual representations of statistics in the form of graphs or charts. And this one, it gets easily interpreted in the form of graphs or charts. Contain summaries of what the presenter wants to convey. Be colorful and grabs attention. How do you grab attention? By using different colors that will grab attention. The color that just shouts, look at me or read me. It needs to be meaningful and appropriate. So this is how to prepare support materials. So these are things that one needs to consider when they are preparing support materials. All right, and then we're going to the last question. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. We've got Kwezi Manufacturer, which is KM. Ntando, the new CEO at Kwezi Manufacturer, is preparing a business presentation to the stakeholders. Now, don't forget, stakeholders can be your investors, it can be employees, it can be your customers. So it's all those people. He inquired about the target market that the presentation is intended for. It's very important when you're presenting, you need to know who you are presenting for. Hence, they said one of the rules is that the presentation, it needs to be relevant. He used graphics and images related to the content. After writing the presentation, Ntando asked Thulani to proofread it carefully. All right, the first question says, identify the factors that Ntando considered when designing a presentation. Secondly, discuss other factors that must be considered when designing a presentation. So basically here they're talking about before the actual presentation. So what must you consider? Right, before we answer this question, let's go to the first one. We said identify. I'm sure you've identified, you're quoting. And remember with quoting, you are taking it from the scenario, Right, they said he used graphics and images related to the content. Let's see, it's here. He used graphics and images related to the content, which is that one. Right, the second one, what else did Ntando consider? After writing the presentation, Ntando asked Thulani to proofread it carefully. It's here. There it is, word for word, directly from the scenario or from the text. Right, the second question said the factors that needs to be considered when designing a presentation. You're using large, clear fonts that are easy to read. Remember I said we're accommodating everybody in the audience. Use outlines on slides and keep detailed explanations for the verbal presentation. Your slides, try to make it as brief as you can. It needs to be a summary, but now the detailed explanations, you can do it verbally. Limit each slide to 5 or 6 lines. Imagine having a whole essay with 20 lines in one slide. You can imagine. So it becomes disturbing for the audience. They get bored because now having to read from the slide gets tiring. And with a closing message that the audience will remember. It needs to be colorful and grab attention. You can have your slides that are colorful and grabs attention, or whatever visual that you are using. It needs to be colorful and grab attention. It needs to be meaningful and appropriate. Remember, you need to look at who the target market is or who the audience is in this instance. Select a suitable background. Don't just use colors that are clashing. So you need to make sure that the colors, they complement each other very well. Avoid long sentences and keep it simple. Remember we said save the others for what? For verbal presentation. But in your slides, be as brief as you can. Keep it simple all the time. And lastly, you need to avoid fancy decoration. So the simpler it is, the better it gets to the audience as they are reading. So simplicity is key. So that is the application question, the last question. We are done. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've learned so much. From me, Ms. Mabuya, I'll see you after the break when we wrap up everything. I'll see you just now.